Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are working on chapter 12, programming challenge 10 in the book Starting Out with Java. And this programming challenge is to create a graphical user interface that would give us two cards, two poker cards, and our job is to is to select a random card from a deck of cards until we exhaust all the cards in the deck. And according to the books, the description in the book for this programming challenge, they say we have to go somewhere, some website that I couldn't find, and the deck of cards are there. So I went to GitHub instead and found these cards. They are all 52 cards in a deck. So our job is to select one of them randomly and display it in the application. And we keep selecting a random card from the deck until there is no more card in the deck. So let me explain everything I wrote in the class. I created a class called card dealer that would inherit from this JFrame class. So basically the card dealer would be a child of the JFrame superclass. This class would implement action listener so that we can interact with the application. And then I created 3 JPanels: main panel, card panel, and dealer panel, to hold the different data. Then we created a file path where the deck is stored. Here is the folder that contains all the cards. And then we created an array list called cards that will hold all the cards. Then we create a random instance here so that we can generate a random number. Then we create two JLabel instances to hold the two random cards. Here we create 2 buttons, exit button and a new game button that would exit the game and pick a new card, basically. And here we don't need this. And then I created a constructor for the class. This would be the title of the window. Here we read the cards. Basically the program goes to the folder and reads each card and store it in the cards array. Then we call the deal method that would basically set up all the components of the GUI. Here we add the main panel to the window, to the frame, and we set the size to 600 pixels wide and 500 pixels high. Then we set the default close operations of the window to exit on close. That basically means whenever you click this button, it will terminate the program instead of hanging in the background. Then we here call the set visible to true. If you don't use this method, the window will not be shown. Here, this method, we read the cards first by creating a folder, a file instance. We call it folder, and we pass the file the path of the folder here. Here's the path. Then we created an array that would store each file that we find. Here we create a try and catch statements here, and we go through all the contents of the folder, and as long as the contents of the folder is a file, then we add that file to the cards array. Otherwise, we just ignore it because we only care about the files, and we care about we also store the absolute path, so that we can call it later. Here we catch null point exceptions if there's any. And in this method, I call it deal. You can call it whatever you want. And we set the layout of the main panel to border layout. We set the border of the main panel to have 20 pixels for all corners of the panel. Then I instantiated the two labels that will contain the images here. Here, the card panel would have a grid layout. It will have one row and two columns. Then I added a border to the labels. It's not necessary. It's just a stylistic decision here. Then I added action listener to both buttons, the new game button and exit button. And then here I added the two labels to the card panel panel. Here we add a layout to the dealer panel. It will have a grid layout. It will have one row and two columns. And then we add the two buttons to the dealer panel. And lastly, for this method, we add the two panels to the main panel, the card panel and the dealer panel. The card panel will sit in the center of the panel, and the dealer panel will sit the south side of the panel. Here we create a main method to run the entire program. Here in the action performed method, which we got from implementing action listener, we make sure that if the user clicks the new game, we check that the cards are not exhausted. They are above 1. If so, then we generate two random numbers that would have a limit to the size of the cards. Right, the first random number would have a boundary of the size of the cards, and the second random number would have a boundary of the cards size. Here we create two cards, card 1 and card 2, and we get from the cards array, and we randomly pick a random card from the array. Here we create two image icons. And the reason we create image icons because that is the only way we can set the icon of the JLabel. So we pass the icon to the cards. We pass the cards to the icons, card 1 and card 2. And then we set the two JLabels here. We set their icons, icon 1 and 2. And then we remove, as the user clicks the button, we remove the cards, the randomly picked cards from the card array. And we keep removing the cards as the user clicks the button, the new game button. But if the cards are 0, then we set the background to red of the panels, and we tell the user that there is no cards left for them to remove. So that's it for the entire program. And let's run the program and see if the program works just like we expect. As you can see, to begin with, there is no cards displayed. We have to click the new game here. Once we click that, there is two randomly picked two cards. And we continue picking a randomly picked card until we exhaust all the cards in the deck. As you can see, once we exhaust all the cards, it will tell us there is no more cards on the deck left. And everything is red. So I think that's what they wanted us to do, to pick a random card from the deck of cards, and then we remove cards as we pick them. That's what they wanted us to do. If you find this video useful or helpful, please let me know, and please give this video a like, and subscribe if you want to see similar programming tutorials in this channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.